Hi, my name is Joseph. I have been here at CCC ever since I was a baby. I have a mother and a father with 3 siblings. What has God done in my life? For me, ever since I was a kid, I've always challenged the idea of God. It didn't really make much sense to me, and naturally, I wanted to be in control of my own life. I wasn't too sure what it meant to be a Christian. And as I grew older, I was always very curious with God, and eventually I started trying to see things through Jesus' eyes, like do things that he would do. I always thought, what would Jesus do in this situation? And with that perspective, I was able to actually overcome a lot of problems, and it actually turned out to be like the best way to determine situations from my experience. And so that made me really curious about what is Christianity? How do I get closer to God? And eventually that's when I started doing Bible studies with my grandparents and my siblings. And eventually, through learning who God is, reading the Bible, and just overall trying to understand him, I decided to come to Christ. Transformation in me, I have been a lot more open with my family. I've let them love me, and I've also loved them more. And that has improved my relationship with my sister, my mother, my parents overall, just because I'm closer with them, and having God in their relationship really helps with security and loving each other. A big part of why I wanted to get baptized was my friend was getting baptized, and I had always been really close with God, and I always wanted to be closer with him and trust in him more. I knew the next step was to get baptized if I wanted to really trust in him and really love in him. And with him getting baptized, that was really what pushed me to be able to take the next step, the leap of faith into God, so I can trust him more and love him more. Maybe the most meaningful thing for me about baptism or being baptized was having that trust in God. The Holy Spirit being in me makes me feel more confident in my ability to love and trust in God. And with God having control in all things, I can always lean into him for anything that I need. And I can also glorify him more, saying, I am baptized, I'm going to be in heaven with God, and I love him so very much. I would like to thank some people for being a big part of my journey. First off, for me, my grandfather, he was actually a leader for the Cicero Christian Church at one point, and he is extremely impactful to my life. He has always tried to guide me to the water, doing Bible studies with me, and overall trying to answer any questions that I ever have to ask him. I would also like to thank my mother for sparking my initial understanding of God and planting that seed. For she is the first one who planted the seed for me. And then finally my brother, seeing him go through the transformation of going to Summit, it was really massive for me. He became a lot more vocal, a lot more loving, and most importantly, he was much more closer to God. He was much closer to God, and that really impacted me. If I could say one thing to encourage the church, I would say that if you're thinking about baptism and you're a little afraid, do not fear. It is actually a very fun experience. For me, God had always been working me up to get baptized, and it took just a tiny little shove for me to do it, just a little bit of a leap of faith. And it really isn't as scary as most people might think. It was actually very fun. It was very rewarding. Being able to trust in God and love God, and also being able to be closer with him, is one of the best things anybody can really experience. Trusting in God will actually be extremely rewarding, and he won't fail you. Now check out me getting baptized.